This is the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast. I'm Dalton Gray.
And I'm Ryan Humphreys.
Broadcasting from our hometown of Fairbanks, Alaska. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast, everybody. I'm Dalton.
I'm Mo.
And we're joined this week by a special guest, Rob Morris.
Hey, nice to be here. Thanks, guys.
We can cue the applause. I think we have that sound effect.
Oof.
Somewhere.
I don't remember which one it is. Not that one. That works.
I like it. I like it.
Welcome to the show, Rob Morris. Your first question. No, anyway. Well, Rob, you own the tannery that we have come to know and love.
Yeah, well, thank you. We own a tannery, Morris Custom Hides in North Pole, Alaska. I've had the business running for almost 8 years now.
Very
I
nice.
spent my first 2 years practicing on stuff for free just to learn how to do it. And we've been rolling right along, and I've had both my sons through. My youngest son still works with me. He's part business owner now.
Good.
My oldest son, he worked with me for a couple of years and learned the trade, the skill, until he went off to college. And now I got my youngest son in there. He's been there about 1.5 years now since he graduated high school.
Good.
So
good. Well, that's great. Yeah, he's not far down the road from Mo and I, and we came in contact with you through a mutual connection a few years ago, and started trickling in some bear hides, and now we've had you do, I think probably a decent handful of bear hides have come through now, and then I've recommended different people to go to you. You know, people that used to be sending stuff out of state where we used to send our hides, and I said, you know what? By the time you factor in shipping, it's the same cost. And I've had no problems with the product that comes out of your shop.
Yeah.
And when we moved in here a few weeks ago, I was making the great migration of dead bear hides into the back of my truck. And I was picking through piles because these all used to be condensed on one rack about that long. And it was just multiple layers deep of bear hides. And so I had bears that I hadn't seen in forever. By that time, they were turning into glacier bears, a little bit of blue mold tinge a little bit of tinge on there. But I was pulling bear hides off, and there's that one. And then, where's the bottom half of that one? And quite literally the case. And I forgot that there was a couple in the same batch that we had sent out years ago out of state, and the back legs were missing. And
when they came back?
Yeah, and the butt was all chewed up and shaved off, and patches of hair were gone, and I don't know why I ever kept them. Maybe I thought I was going to make make a scarf out of it or a hat, but and that company ended up, refunding the money, but still, I mean,
you can't get that one back.
It's a goner, you know, and that, replacing my money to send it there and then pay for it, that's good. You should do that, but it doesn't replace the time and effort and work that we put in to shoot that thing.
Yeah, definitely. And Tanner's kind of got a hard time of it a lot of times because, like we'll get into later with the field care, that's super critical.
Right.
Because if you don't, like tannery we don't fix hides, we finish hides. So whenever you give us, a subpar hide, sometimes we can't fix that.
Right.
Especially if bacteria is involved, which causes hair slippage, which we'll talk about later in detail.
Yeah.
But some tannery, you got to have if you're an individual tannery like myself, individual owner, you really got to have a thick skin. We don't have a lot of problems, but, every tannery is going to have some issue at some point in time.
Sure.
And then that's where you have to be professional enough to, let that client know, hey, I understand what you're saying, and it looks like it was on the tannery, but here's some things that we could do different next time to get a better product.
Yeah.
But, you're talking about sending stuff out of state and the shipping cost, which is a real deal. But what I found most important to me is the relationship that I build with the client. Right. They're not just clients, they're clients' friends. And some of them we've had since the beginning of time, since we started. And several, actually.
Good.
So I just like building that personal relationship.
Yeah.
And you know the deal. You guys can call me. Anybody can
Right.
call me
Yeah.
anytime you want. You
Yeah.
got a question.
Exactly.
I'm always available. I make myself available.
Yeah.
And that personability really goes a long way.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. And there's, the final layer of it, if someone is looking for another good reason to find a local tannery, if they do a good work, is supporting local business, and having somewhere local that our money goes back into our local economy, for what that's worth. And I think there is something to that.
There is definitely, and don't get me wrong, every tannery has its purpose, and I've
Sure.
learned that over time.
Sure.
The bigger tanneries in the lower 48, the factory type tanneries, just pushing through, they have their purpose. They serve a purpose.
Yeah.
And I've also found out that there's a lot of tanneries like mine, which, micro tannery, small deal. There's a lot of those peppered around through the lower 48. They have their purpose.
Yeah.
And it's more of an individual, detailed client relationship.
Sure. I mean, I would have to imagine, like, if you would have to say, where would you think in America, as we would refer to it as the lower 48, where would be the most micro tanneries like what you're talking about? I mean, am I wrong to assume that there's a lot of that in like the southeastern whitetail states like Oklahoma, Kansas, Carolinas, Kentucky, maybe down in that area?
Honestly, geographically, I would say they're all over.
Really?
Because you've only got a handful of bigger tanneries, like your Moyle Mink, some other ones that are out there, but they're few and far between anymore. A lot of people are realizing they can set up shop at their house, like I do. And then have a smaller clientele base.
Sure.
And from the get-go, I knew I wasn't going to just take in everything that was offered.
Right.
I wanted to have a small clientele base so we could have that relationship, like I said, but also focus on the details, like trimming lips after we're done tanning, trimming all the shavings off the edge of the skirt, just all those little details that you won't get in a factory-type setting.
Right.
So, sometimes stuff comes back from those bigger tanneries. The ears haven't even been turned back out. And they're hard as rocks at that point.
Yep.
So you're not turning it unless you got to rehydrate them.
Right.
So but that's just the deal. Is we take extra care because we're a small tannery.
Yeah.
They have a different purpose, different business.
Sure. Yeah. Well, very good. So I guess we can start at the beginning. If you give us a 30,000 foot, no pun intended, background on kind of where you came from and how you ended up here and why you even got into the tannery business in the first place.
Yeah. I will say it is from watching TV. Watching TV is not always bad. It just depends on what you're watching.
So was it Deadliest Catch or
No,
Ice Road Truckers?
Mountain Men.
Oh.
Mountain Men on History Channel. I believe it came out in 2010.
Yeah.
And I started watching that show from its inception.
Okay.
On a regular basis, and at that point, I was in the military, and we were moving around. I didn't do any hunting or trapping or anything like that, and I definitely didn't do it growing up. I didn't come from a family that we did that stuff. I was
and you were
basically a city kid.
Originally from which state again?
Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah, Kansas, and I never grew up doing any of that stuff. But once I started watching that show, I'm like, man, I want to learn how to trap. I want to hunt.
Yeah.
And I want to learn how to tan. I never did any of that in my life.
That was in your initial thoughts.
My
hunt,
first
trap, tan.
Yep. In my first year watching that show, I can still remember that feeling I got, and I'm getting chills just talking about it, honestly. And this was, 15, 20 years ago almost.
Yeah, well,
maybe not that many.
2010, that's 16.
Yeah, 16 years.
Good
So,
grief.
Well, we didn't even know anything about Alaska, my wife and I, and other than that it was a state. That's about all we knew.
Yeah.
And we had the opportunity, it was going to be our last duty station. We had the opportunity to kind of pick where we wanted to go.
Okay.
So we chose Fort Wainwright, Alaska here. Got it. And within 6 months, we knew we were staying here forever. We bought our house that we're in still today. We've been here 10 years now. That was 2015. We moved up here.
Okay.
And I spent 2 more years in the military, and then I retired out of there. But while I was in the military up here, I started looking into the hunting and the trapping. And the first thing I did was join the ATA, Alaska Trappers Association.
Yep, very good.
Because I knew that if I want to trap, I got to get around trappers.
Yeah.
And then, so that really skyrocketed because my second meeting ever there, they have monthly meetings throughout the trapping season. My second meeting, the president stood up and said, hey, we got a old-time trapper that needs some help. He was getting physically disabled. And I, volunteered my time, and I ended up trapping with that guy for 3 years, learning all kinds of stuff about trapping. And just recently, he actually offered me his line because he can't do it anymore.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
So, but yeah, so I started trapping with that guy. Learned a lot about trapping and fur handling, and then finally, I got in with somebody that took me hunting. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
You get these new guys up here,
Yeah.
new people up here. Nobody wants to take you hunting. And I totally get it now, but at the time it was a little disconcerting. So I found a guy. We did some moose hunting, some caribou hunting down in Unit 13, and
Right on.
uh,
Back
so-
when there was still caribou in 13.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't shoot them all.
Okay, whatever. We could tell folks what you did in the military. Maybe they'll disagree with you.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time. So yeah, I just started hunting and trapping, just little by little, learning, getting out there. And while I was doing the trapping bit, I was messing around with tanning.
Okay.
I started out with some brain tanning. I brain tanned my first caribou skin. Turned out phenomenal.
Did you do the whole hide?
The whole hide.
Okay.
The back skin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just the process of doing that, the fleshing, the salting, the tanning, everything was just so meditative. It's hard to explain, but it's a really fulfilling process.
Yeah.
And I knew that right from the get-go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to do this. So I spent my first year and a half, 2 years, just asking people to tan their stuff for free.
Yeah.
And then I did different methods. I started out with brain tanning, and then I tried the orange bottle, which is a good product, the deer hide Hunter's deer hide formula. Yeah.
Bottle like that? Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think I tanned a rabbit with that when I was a kid.
Yeah, and then tried a couple other techniques, and then just by chance, I was talking to this other trapper at a meeting, and he introduced me to a taxidermist here in town, North Pole, and that taxidermist had a tannery years back in Fairbanks, and we both saw an opportunity. He taught me how to tan the static way, which is typical how most tanneries do it, with just soaking methods.
Okay.
He set me up. I bought some of his equipment from his old tannery, set it up in my house where my shop is, as you know, and then he had a local tanner, and then he taught me some of the things, and just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
And
Now, what was his shop the one that I used to hear about that used to be on Van Horn somewhere? What was it, over on that side of town?
No. Oh yeah, Van Horn. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Al had the Pegger
Right.
one, but it was on Van Horn. I think he was only open for a couple of years.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, because that would have been in what year? Like 2000? Because you said 15 you got back, so then within
It
a
was
few
well
years.
before I was there. So
Oh,
I'm
really?
probably-
Okay, so maybe I heard about it retroactively, because my family moved back to Fairbanks in 14. And so around the same time, 15, 16, 17 was my basically childhood years compressed into my late teen years, and hunting, fishing and stuff. And I heard about a tannery that either was or used to be around Van Horn area, but I never
that was probably his,
found
because the
anybody
only
that
other one
knew
was
about
that
it.
one on Pegger, which was there
Right.
for probably 30-some years before it burned down.
a long time. Yeah.
So
I was like waiting for a nuclear holocaust to happen.
Had you ever been in there?
I had been in there a couple
Yeah.
times talking to the owner there, just to
Yeah.
get some tips and tricks and stuff, and it was an older place.
I'd seen some years.
Yeah.
I'd seen some things, yeah.
Yeah, my grandpa used to have a Super Cub, and back that rail yard in there used to be an airstrip back in the day, and he would park his airplane there and fly. But of course, I never saw it like that. But
Yeah.
anyway, but yeah, so I guess just kind of progressing. So you got the tannery all kind of set up. So is that kind of a similar process then to how you first learned when you got your shop set up? Is that a similar process of what you're doing right now, or have you evolved a different methodology or technique?
Nope. We from the time we learned the static tanning, that's what we stayed with. The only thing I've switched is the tanning powder that we use.
Okay.
So, I mean, before I was using what's called Paratan. It's a tan powder that we used. It was a pretty good all-around tan, but a little on the cheaper side, lower level. So I used that for a couple years, and then I moved to a different powder tan TX 2001. I don't mind saying it. And so we started using that, but it's the same method. We just every day we always try to improve the foxhole, right? We always try to get better. We always try to make that concerted effort to to do a better job.
Yeah.
Even though we're getting to where we put out some quality work, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
but it's always improvement.
Yeah.
Even if we don't even have any competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah.
So the next tannery, true tannery, is in Wasilla.
Yeah. Is that one associated with the taxidermy business?
Yeah, it is Tundra Taxidermy. Yeah.
Okay. That's
And then there's I know of 2 for sure, other tanneries in Anchorage.
Okay.
Maybe 3. There might be 3 out there, but
I know I've heard. Does Grizzly Expediters have one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're a taxidermist too, I think. Yeah. But I know they're tannery for sure.
They are. Okay.
Yeah, they're.
I didn't know if they were a tannery or not because all of our spring bears for clients, they all go through Grizzly on their way out of state. That's who processes all of our stuff for the spring. And I've worked for other outfitters that use Grizzly as well.
Yeah. They're pretty solid from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen some of their tans. And
Yeah.
One of the taxidermists that we work for up here, or do some work for, he uses them as well.
Oh, does he really?
So I've seen some of their work.
Okay.
Grizzlies, yeah.
Very nice. Yeah. I haven't heard anything bad about them. I mean, I've heard they do a very good job and work very hard at what they do. Interesting. So then the tanning process, you kind of refined that over the years, I would imagine. That's kind of a, labor of love and a lot of attention to detail and, refinement over the years, like you were saying, improve the foxhole. But
it's definitely a labor of love, and I'm just as passionate today as I was when I first started. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
One of the things when I started too was I was like, I'm not going to get overwhelmed with this. I don't want it to become a job, work, and then I end up not liking it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened because I don't overwhelm myself. I'm fairly disciplined in that manner where I don't accept everything that comes my way.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got the 6 month.
I was just going to say this is a perfect time to talk about that.
Yeah, something. So my goal was always 4 to 5 month turnaround for a skin coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's going to be some variables depending on size and stuff like that. But what we decided to do this year was do a 6 month window where we do intakes. That way, the next 6 months, we'll be working on those then, but that next 6 months is just work. We're not doing intakes, none of that stuff. So we'll see. I mean, I think it's going to work out pretty nice because we've almost got our shelf cleared for the start of May 1st.
Good.
That was the goal.
Yeah. Well, for any Fairbanksons listening out there,
May 1st.
May 1st. Yeah.
Yep.
Line up at the door. It's going to be like Black Friday.
It might be. It might be.
You have a bunch of trappers. My furs are thawing out in the bed, Rob. Hurry up.
I don't want that one. We don't want that.
Well, then let's segue into that. So talk a little bit about what a customer should be responsible for. If Joe Schmo is looking to bring Morris Custom Hides a hide and they give you a call and they say, I've got XYZ. What do you want to hear that makes you smile? And what do you hear that makes you go, nope?
Or cry a little?
Yeah. Right.
Well, I've had a lot of those conversations over the years, and I enjoy having those conversations because at that point I can impart what I know that can be beneficial to the hunter or trapper.
Yeah.
And it's all about tact, right? So you don't want to just say you did a crappy job then.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
So and
easiest way to offend a fellow hunter is say you suck.
Exactly. And we have nothing but good clients. That's another cool thing about this job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just phenomenal client base. But sometimes we have to have those conversations, and I do attribute a lot to the military bringing me up in those situations where I can talk to individuals and we can get it fixed without anybody getting too hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So the biggest thing with a skin or an animal is you want to skin it as soon as possible. And I understand you can't necessarily always turn it in the field. You can't always flesh it in the field. Not a big problem, but you want to keep it cool and dry.
Mm-hmm.
So skin the animal right away. Keep it cool and dry. And then as soon as you get the opportunity, flesh all the meat and fat off of it. After that's done, then you salt it. Salting is by far the best way to preserve a hide, bar none. Especially big game hides. You don't want to air dry big game hides at all.
Yeah. They're too thick.
They're thick, but they just act differently.
Okay.
So you don't want, and I've done some air dried bears, I've done some air dried caribou, just for certain people, and I explained the risk involved.
And that was upon their request?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So and 90% of the time it turned out fine.
Okay.
But you're always adding that risk if you don't salt dry it. Because what the salting does is, yeah, it pulls the moisture out, but what it also does is it pulls out non-tannable proteins in the skin.
Okay.
Because there's a bunch of junk in the skin that just won't tan. They're called globular proteins. So the salt initially helps pull that out, and then if you salt it a second or third time, you're pulling more and more of that out, and then you get to a dry state.
Right.
And as long as that skin stays in a dry state, it can, years, you can have that around until it gets processed.
Right. Right.
One story I like to tell a lot is I had a black bear come in that was salt dry for 10 years. And it turned out phenomenal. Phenomenal. Because that client, that hunter, took care of that skin.
Wow.
Right away.
That one there, right next to Mariah, I had salted and rolled up in a burlap sack after it was salted. I think that one was salted for at least 2 years.
Yeah.
And
It looks nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, there's a bullet hole in the side of it there that's got hair coming through
Right.
it, but a couple of little nicks here and there. That one was a good number of years ago. But that was, I was younger. Obviously, it was quite a while ago, and at that time, and even up until now, and we'll get to this later. But talking about your process, usually I don't just go out, shoot a bear, and bring it to you immediately. I mean, sometimes I do, but even the last couple of years, I'll usually wait. I think last spring I brought you the one first, and then I waited. Well, I still have my second one from last year because I'm still hemming and hawing if I even want to tan that one. Different topic, but anyway. But so I would wait to ship them out of state because, I want to try to make the most out of a shipment box, and so I would wait. And that year I only shot 2 bears, and I thought I'll wait till I have 4. And so that one sat, and the next year I only shot 1. I thought, one more year. And then before you know it, it's 2 years, and I'm going, I hope these are still good. Okay, send them off, and turned out wonderful.
Yeah.
But
yeah, the thing with the salt drying too is that you still want to store it in a cool, dry place,
Right.
Because that humidity will just soften it back up.
Right.
Now, granted, you're probably in good condition because you've already salted it and dried it once.
Yeah.
But
I just kept it in my crawl space.
Yeah.
It was cool and dry.
Yeah. Yeah, when clients, the best thing to do is call me, call us. If you got any kind of questions about prepping the skin, we can give some advice because there's some big ones, right? Like you want to, like we talked about, get it skinned, cool, dry, fleshed, salted. The other big thing that I don't see it as much anymore because I'm always talking about it, but avoid plastic bags. Avoid putting any raw skin in a plastic bag. Because what that does is it doesn't allow any airflow, first off. And if you don't have airflow and you've got all that bacteria on that skin in there, especially if it was gut shot or something like that, or if it's a predator, you're talking about increased bacteria growth.
Yeah.
With no airflow, that just multiplies, and the bacteria is what causes the hair to slip.
Yeah.
And once that bacteria is in the skin and it basically eats those follicles out, there's no returning from that.
Yeah.
And the hard part for that is if it does slip, 9 times out of 10, you won't see it until the tannery rehydrates it. Because you bring a tannery of dry skin, it's got all its fur. Looks good, right? Well, you can't see the bacteria in there.
Right.
So then, just like we were talking about earlier, you might think you send in a good skin, but not so much.
Yeah.
Now, granted, tanneries do make mistakes. We absolutely do. But it's rare. You got to try hard to mess up a skin. If you're following your own protocols.
Yeah. Yeah. And so those, I think you called them globular proteins, and those are only removed in the salting process.
Not only, but a large portion of it is.
Okay.
And then whenever it comes to the tannery dry, we rehydrate it, and then it goes into a pickle formula, which is water, salt, and acid.
Okay.
You can use different kinds of acids. We use formic acid, which is it's a very stable platform because you got to maintain the proper pH with all the solutions. But that in the pickle, that also helps. It stops that bacteria growth, kills it, and then it does some other things in there too. But
interesting. I think that globular proteins is one of the things that RFK is trying to get out of the foods. Sorry, I've been sitting on that for like 5 minutes. It just came to my mind.
Trying to find a way to bring it back
It's
up.
like, I got to bring that back up. No, I honestly, I hadn't even heard of that term before. So then we'll go back to that term. Do those remove themselves from the hide when it's just air dried and there's no salt in the process?
I would say no, because when you're air drying, you're not necessarily pulling anything out.
Right.
It's just drying. It's almost like a case hardening of the skin.
Right.
And
it's just like when you hang a quarter of meat to age it. It gets a crust over it, but is it really preserved?
Yeah, and then the bigger problem with air dried skins, especially beaver, is if you don't flush that thing properly and you got meat, or especially fat, and it hardens, it's a form of cement. It's very, very difficult to rehydrate.
Oh, really?
And that's why 2 years ago I stopped taking in air dried beaver. I'll only take salt dried or raw.
Oh, interesting.
Or raw beaver, because we do a fair amount of flushing and salting for folks too. If you don't know what you're doing, you can bring it in and I'll show you. We do that as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Or you can just bring it into us and pay us to do it.
Yeah.
Because last year, as an example, we took 54 bears in total last year, and 19 of those were flesh and salt, and a lot of those were bone removal too. So we took heads out, feet out.
Really? So what do you charge like per bear for that?
Last year, black bear was $225.
Okay.
To do a full fleshing, salting. That's obviously in the turning and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then
So does that include skull too, or
no, bone removal last year was set at our hourly rate was $75 an hour.
Okay.
And that's
okay.
Generally 75 for a skull. Probably 75 for all 4 feet.
Okay. And then.
So you're looking at total. So 225. So then that's 300 with a head, saying that it takes you an hour or less. I'd assume if it takes you any time at all, you're going to be $75 for the head on an average black bear. And then how much per foot?
Generally about 15 minutes.
Okay, and that's still at $75 an hour.
Yeah. Well, it's 90 this year.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Look at the price of fuel, man.
And honestly, 90's on the lower end for.
Yeah, I'm just trying to do math in my head. So then what's the what would the head removal and so that's the same rate.
Let's talk 180 plus 225.
So we're at 4 basically.
Some change, yeah.
Yeah, 405 or something.
And then if it's a black bear, those are $75 a linear foot. So you figure a 6 foot black bear is going to be about $500. So you're looking at about
$500 just to turn it
for the tan.
$500 for the tan.
Okay.
So the $400 is on top of the tan.
Right. And any fleshing, skinning work that we do is up front. That's just paid for up front.
So $900 if someone brings you an unfleshed, toe still in, head still in it, from that state to tanned is just under $1,000.
Unless you have a military discount or ATA discount. We have both of those as well.
That's a wonderful reason to join the ATA.
10% discount, yeah. I mean, ATA membership's only $40 a year, and you get a magazine set 8 months out of the year.
You know, I've been in a number of
cool
customers'
magazine,
houses recently that have ATA magazines on their coffee table, and for some reason, it's just happened more recently, and I thought, I should get a membership to that.
Our membership is growing significantly.
Has it
I don't know if I've mentioned it or not, but I'm on the board of ATA as well.
Oh,
the vice president.
Great.
And what a phenomenal gig. The best volunteer job I've ever done.
Great.
But our membership's grown significantly over the last 2 years.
I saw you had something on your page about like a fur rondy type of thing that you're helping to put on. Is that...
Are you talking about the Homestead Expo?
Possibly.
Well, 3 weeks ago, I got a call from a lady down in Big Lake, Alaska.
Okay.
Down by Wasilla.
Okay.
I guess there's a Homestead Expo that they do every year. This is the 3rd year they're doing it.
Okay.
So somehow she heard that, word of mouth that we tan and all that stuff, and she asked me if I'd be willing to come down and do a class for skinning, fur handling, into like prep for tanning. Of course, I got excited because I love teaching and I love tanning, so put those together.
There you go, yeah.
And a lot of exposure down there, sure. But anyway.
Is this a bring your own hide to work with the
yeah, pretty much. So I put together a 5-class series that we're going to be doing down there.
Excellent.
I'm taking 3 whole links down. I'm taking 2 whole coyotes. So we're going to do a lot of skinning.
Good.
I mean, it's just going to be...
Good.
Got some overhead cameras, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be a pretty neat deal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, if you're going to be in that neighborhood, then join up. Yeah, that'll be awesome. So I guess back to the tanning side of it. Obviously, you want someone to bring in a product that they're going to be happy with the results of your work on it. And if they do a subpar job, then it's going to affect the end result.
It can.
So what are some things that, like we were talking about earlier off camera even, some of my early mistakes were I didn't realize that toes went further than that last knuckle at the end of the palm of the hand there when I first started turning bears. And it took me a few bears to really realize that, hey, that there's more to this than I thought, and there's detailed process, and then learning about turning ears and then eyelids and everything else that follows along with that. But I remember some of those early mistakes really just being easy once I realized what they were.
Yeah.
But it just took someone explaining. So from a tannery perspective, if you had to give some tips and advice, let's just say specifically for bears, because that's the next big ticket item for the spring, although I'm sure you get some beavers that are going to come in the spring season too. But for bears specifically, because that's obviously what we're kind of obsessed with at this point.
Yeah. And that's something that we've been doing the most of.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Out of all the skins.
Yeah. So then for a bear hide, what are some easily avoidable mistakes if someone is going to bring it to you ready to go in the tanning solution? What are some things that they can specifically do or watch out for on their end?
Okay. Yeah, well, we talked about some of the basics, scanning it, fleshing it, salting it, all that good stuff. And I would say if you don't know how to turn ears and split lips and turn the nose and things like that, don't salt the head. Don't salt anything that you haven't fleshed already or turned. And turning is big, especially for these big game animals, because the more skin you have exposed to air and salt, the better off you are.
Yeah.
Because there's no creases to hold bacteria or anything like that.
Sure.
So basically, you just want to open everything up and then just get all the grease and fat off of it and salt it.
Yeah. Do you recommend that that after guys say that they get a bear turned, I know that I've done this occasionally when I have the space and the time for it and when it's not pouring rain outside, and I think that you do this too, now that I think about it when I've been over at your place, but when you get a bear turned and salted and then it's pickled and it's wet, and then do you hang them after that first salt to let everything kind of drip off of it
Absolutely.
and then resalt it for the second round of salt?
Yep, and that's with any skin. You always want to salt it, salt it, hang it, because all those juices drip off of it, especially big flat skins.
Yeah.
If you leave a flat skin flat on the table, it's just pooling right there.
Right.
So hang them in a room that's got fairly low humidity, decent temp, 65, 70, somewhere around in there, and also airflow. You always want airflow.
Yeah.
24 hours is a general rule after the first salting. You take the hide down, check it out, wipe off all the old salt. You can even put it back on the beam and put the fleshing knife to it, get all that old salt off, and then reapply salt wherever it'll stick.
Yeah.
Hang it up again until it's perfectly, dried hard. Well, I take that back. But when it's about 90, 95% dry, you want to fold it up into a manageable package.
Yeah.
I've seen some bears come in that are just like this. So, I mean, we can take it, but it's going to be it's going to be difficult to rehydrate it.
Right.
But you were talking about the toes too, and it matters, but it doesn't matter. I would say it matters because you want that full exposure.
Yes.
If you've got the next knuckle in, you might, especially on a grizz, or even a coastal brown, anything that lives down there on fish.
Right.
You want to get all that grease and fat out of there. So by going to that last knuckle, you're more likely to have that nice clean pocket of nothing, no fat, and nothing like that.
Right. Absolutely. So I kind of want to revisit the salting thing, just so for clarity's sake.
It's important. We could talk about that the whole night.
And that's I've had a couple of guys that have brought bear hides that I've kind of showed the ropes on fleshing. Now that I've done a lot more bears over the last number of years, bears are the thing that that if I had any chance of doing it blindfolded of any animal, I'd say bears, please.
Pretty confident. Pretty
Please don't give me
confident
anything else, especially a moose nose. But
Oof, I've never had to do that.
oh man, I mean, it practically covers the whole stinking table.
Yeah. Now that I think, yeah,
It can be intense with those bigger game.
Yeah.
It's,
Game heads.
It's wild. Caribou, I thought, were super easy actually.
Yeah, I've done
there's
caribou,
kind of
but-
a method to the madness there. But the moose, I mean, I'm sure with enough practice, you'd be great at it. But
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Everybody starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah,
I look at my own story of I'd never even skinned an animal before in my life.
mm-hmm.
I was 37 when I started this whole thing.
yeah,
So I'm skinning my first fox
Wow.
at 37.
yeah,
But here I am 8 years later because I was committed and dedicated.
sure,
All great paths are, built on perseverance and passion.
yeah,
And that's why I'm not worried about anybody, not too many people coming in here and setting up a tannery right next to me because it's hard work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got to really want it. And
You've
it's
got-
not like the community couldn't support two anyway.
The
Yeah.
community can support 2 or 3 or 4,
Yeah.
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 in my opinion.
Mm.
But yeah, everybody starts somewhere, and
Yeah.
doesn't
Wow.
matter what skill level you're at. If you want to get better, keep doing it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So then, just for that clarity's sake, so salt it first after it's fleshed and turned. We
Yep.
do one salt, and then generally, at least for me, and let's play this like a back and forth. Like I'll maybe say how I do this particular step, and then you tell me how you would rather see it, even if it's different than mine, obviously.
Because there are different ways for everything.
Sure, and this is partially, I learned this way. I've seen it done the way that I do it, and maybe I'll change something if you give me a reason why I should.
Convince me.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I mean, you're the professional in this field.
Well, not just that, but you might have been doing it wrong this whole time and getting lucky.
Yeah, exactly. Because I've still only been doing this. I mean, I feel like I've shot a lot of bears, but I've only got about 10 years. So, well, maybe 11 is a stretch, but about 10. So anyway, salt round 1. And I've always been a heavy salter, especially on the first round, and that really draws up a lot, especially coastal brown bears and even interior grizzly bears. I've noticed take more salt than even the interior black bears do. They just seem greasier.
They are.
Well, they're a thicker hide, aren't they, usually?
The
grizzlies?
Yeah, typically
Yeah.
around the head and neck area.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially the head and neck. Yeah, compared to a black bear anyway.
That's why they're a little bit more. Plus an extra degreasing usually.
Oh, okay. So that's a solution that you soak it in.
Degrease, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, each hide, especially the greasy ones, bears,
Right.
all your fur bears,
Right.
they'll go through at least 3 different degreasings throughout the stage.
Mm-hmm.
So they're nice and clean at
But
the
a
end.
grizzly bear or brown bear will get an extra one on top
Yep.
of normal.
Yep.
Okay. Interesting. So then after salt stage 1, usually I just kind of eyeball it. Sometimes it's a day. Sometimes I'll leave it for a day and a half. But usually about a day, maybe a day and a half. I think maybe I've left a brown bear or 2 days on one salt. And that was just because situationally or terrible weather. And we didn't have a dry place to take, to do the thing and dump it off and hang it. And, humidity's high on the coast anyway. But usually about a day. And if I see enough pickling, pickling is not the right word, but it juices, right?
Yeah.
So that powdery salt turns into a liquid that's pooling up on the low points of the hide. At that point, pick it up, over my 10 by 12 tarp, give it a good shake, hang it on the top of a ladder or something, and brush that off of there. Let it dry for about, and I don't always wait 24 hours. Sometimes I think the black bear that I brought you last year, I hung it up for a half a day because I got home from work middle of the afternoon, cleaned it off, hung it, and then around 10 o'clock that night. So it probably had 7 or 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just a black bear, no fat on it, very lean bear, and it seemed to dry pretty quick, and it was super warm. And we're talking second week of June here.
Yeah, conditions are going to be everything.
Right. And then resalted again, and then usually on the second round of salt, I have kind of waited for the same visible results because usually I'll get the second salt is going to juice not as much, but it'll do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, again, another day or 2, and then do the same thing, back up, shake it off, clean it off, and then I'll do another layer just as heavy as the first 2. And then that one usually, it just, the surface of the salt still looks dry after that third coat. Usually. Sometimes with brown bears, you'll need a fourth.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I might scrape off the excess, but to be honest with you, usually I just wrap it up with as much salt as is on there and fold it up, 4 legs in, butt, head, and then again in half, and that's that.
Sits on the shelf nicely.
So how do we differ in that process?
Not much really. I would say that the conditions are going to be key. Right?
Sure.
So if you got a warmer temp area with
Yeah.
a lot of airflow, it's
Yeah.
going to be faster.
Right.
If you got more humidity, it's going to be slower.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing is you can never use enough salt,
Yeah.
and buy salt in bulk.
Yeah.
I buy it at Costco.
Yep. Me too.
For I think it's like $9.72 or something for a 25-pound bag.
Right.
Salt is pretty expensive in Alaska, but I haven't started ordering it from the lower 48 yet.
Well, when you start, let us know.
You might
It
be able to do that and then
wait.
sell it for a few extra bucks a bag.
Well, I've actually thought about kind of being a wholesaler.
yeah,
Oh, have you
exactly.
You know,
really?
getting a semi-truck of salt from the lower 48.
Oh.
And as an example, my youngest son and I, were down in Montana doing some tanning with one of my mentors.
Oh, yeah.
We go down there every so often to do some tanning with him for a few weeks. And I looked at the salt prices at the local feed store. It was $7, like it was almost $8 for a 50-pound bag. $8 for a 50-pound bag.
Versus 9 something for 25 here.
Mm-hmm. And then if
Holy
you go
smokes.
to another place, I'm not going to say what it is here, but if you go to another place in town for a 50-pound bag, it's $32. Same kind of salt.
Wow.
You know, one
Yeah,
year,
I said that, $32.
Wow.
one year I'd killed a bear, and I don't remember exactly if it was a weekday or what it was, but I got it skinned, taken care of, but I needed salt, and it was like 10 o'clock at night. And I wasn't going to Fairbanks. So I went to Safeway.
Safeway, yep. Get
And
the
bought
little
1 pound bottles.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I bought 25 or 30 1 pound bottles, like a 6-foot bear. So it was just enough to cover it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
then,
get
you
through
know,
the night. Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, once there's salt on it, it can sit if it needs to. Right?
Yeah. It's better than back of the truck unflushed.
Yeah. And, I think, it may have sat there a few days, and I've never had any issues. Usually
Yeah.
my salting is more, it's way less.
I've
You
had-
made this sound so like, it
Oh,
sits there
dude.
about,
Yeah.
it's always, for me, it's like
Because
there's
it
salt
makes
on
me
it.
nervous. Yeah.
And then it's like, a few days ago I put a bear hide in there. It's got salt on it. Let me go check on that thing. Shake it off, put some more salt on it. That's usually what I do. I've never had any issues.
Yeah.
It just makes me
well,
nervous, man.
You know, like
It
I
just
said,
does.
Now-
before, it's not always going to slip, or you could do everything wrong and that hide could still turn out just
Right.
fine.
Yeah.
It's just, why are you adding that risk to?
Right.
It's just
Well,
another variable.
I always get salt on it. There's always going to be salt
Yeah.
on it. I'm never
Yeah.
going to leave it unsalted. And so, and my dad was more consistent than I am. And I haven't killed a bear in a couple of years now. So I'm going to change that here in a couple
Get
months.
busy.
Yeah.
About 6 weeks and you'll have one on salt.
I've had to do that before too. When I ran out of salt, I'd go to Safeway and get
Yeah.
the 1
I-
pound.
Well, we have 3 bears now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they sell 25ers?
I got to imagine they do. I mean,
I
they're an
don't know.
Alaskan store.
I don't know if they're $9 though, like Costco.
Well, it might
No.
be 15, but if you don't have to sit there and rip open
Yeah.
25 or
20.
30
Well,
or 50
And
one-pound
here's
bottles,
the other
man.
thing too.
That was what sucked about the whole thing, was having to
Yes.
rip each one open
Yes.
individually.
I did that on one bear as well. It might have been one of my wife's bears, but I know we did that with one bear. But here's the other thing too. You think about math, because we all live in North Pole.
Uh-huh.
And I did the mileage math of cost per drive to town and back the other day. And at current gas prices, my truck's fuel economy, average drive time to town and back, I'm in at least $10 a trip. 3 Bears is less than 5 minutes. Well, maybe 5 minutes from
Yeah.
here.
Mm.
So if it's 12 or 15 bucks for 25 pounds,
You're always
I'm gonna save
Plus,
that
you
or
could
at
walk
least
over
break
to the
even.
outfitter, what are they
The
called? The
outpost.
outpost, yeah.
Yeah.
Walk in there and look at the guns and ammo.
Yeah, I do that with heating oil. Whenever it's time to go get heating oil, I call 3 different places in town based on their prices and how much it's going to cost me to get there.
Right. Yeah.
I guess that's what we
Yeah.
got to do these days. Living
Yeah.
up here, it's so expensive, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And then current political environment,
Yeah.
love it, like it, or lump it, whatever.
But talking about the pounds of salt, individual pounds, kind of made me remember the general rule: 1 pound of skin, 1 pound of salt, or 1 pound of salt for 1 pound of
Okay.
skin.
Okay.
That's
I
generally a good rule to.
never even thought about
I've
that
always
before.
just tried to cover it with,
Yeah.
as thick of
Well,
a
you
layer as I
do, but
can.
if you're tight on salt,
Yeah.
Okay. I think I about bought Safeway out at one point. At least on the shelf, it was just like I started counting and was just like, I'm gonna buy everything on the shelf here.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the 7-foot bear. I think that was a 6-foot one. But
Okay.
Huh. So then, for field care, bear baits are usually a pretty easily controlled environment for where you're going to skin. I've only had one bear at a bait two, but one of them wasn't mine, that died in some water and ended up wet when it died. Usually, now coastal bears, different story. A lot of those end up wet, even if it's just raining outside. That hair is just going to end up wet, and it's in a wet environment. But usually at a bear bait in the interior, 90+% of the time, well, at least for Mo and I, if we're sitting the bait, it's not raining.
Yeah. Fair weather.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm the same way.
Yeah.
the bears are fairly fair weather themselves.
Yeah, especially.
I mean, I've never seen a bear in the rain.
I think I know why.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and even on the coast, I've killed some bears in the rain, but there is a threshold where they're just not going to be out.
Yeah.
And you can kick and squirm about that all you want, but I don't know. I've learned from some pretty superlatively experienced outfitters and guides that say,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and for me, I was growing up with my dad, and I remember multiple times going in on crazy rainstorms. Right?
Oh, really?
And we're right into the bait, and at the time it was wheelers, and we'd get in there, and I remember at one point my dad just saying, I don't think I've ever seen a bear come in and rain like this. And so it got to be, and it's the habit that I have now, where you just get to, maybe you're like, all right, I'm going, it's because rainstorms in the summer here are like,
Sure.
sometimes they're a half hour long. It may dump like crazy for a half hour, but that's all it is. And so, it's just drive to the pull out, whether you're hiking in or riding, and you just sit there until it starts to peter out. And then you jump out and go for it.
Well,
usually they walk, if you're sitting there and it rains, they usually
Yes.
walk in after the rain's over.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've shot a number of them as a squall has come through and then left as I've been sitting there, but I've never had one walk in the middle of a big squall. But anyway, that being said, you talked about water, keeping the hide dry. So say someone is in a backcountry situation, they're not at a bait, they're not close to a cabin or a shed or any kind of a structure that they can really get this thing fleshed and dried out and hung and salted and whatever else the situation needs to be, right? What would be your recommendation for process for field care until you reach that point where you either can put it on salt and get it in a cool, dry area? Do you like guys to take it out and hang it, or at least spread it out at night where it's not in a game bag so it'll get some air?
Yep. I would say put up a tarp, hang it underneath it, and leave it hanging. Yeah. Don't worry about bringing it in during the daytime and putting it back up.
Hair side down.
Hair side down, yep, so that skin gets exposure.
Yeah.
And you can actually get most of the big chunks off. You're not going to get out there on a fleshing beam, I get that, but you can get the big chunks of meat off, and that's important.
Yeah.
So you just keep it as dry as possible.
Yeah.
I got a story for that one, actually. I can't remember the name of the island, but this guy was down there doing some brown bear hunting and killed a 10-footer, almost 10 foot on, it was a 9-footer. It was a 10-day hunt.
Okay.
They were on a 10-day hunt.
Okay.
He got
I get those two mixed up too.
If it was my bear, it was 10 foot.
Yeah. Every bear in here is 10 foot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially this one.
So he shot that on day one, the bear, and he kept it under a tarp, kept it dry as possible, and every night when they'd come back from the hunt, he'd just sit there and flesh on it a little bit. Turn some, flesh some.
Yeah.
So it was probably about day 14 by the time it got into my shop. Never saw salt, and it turned out phenomenal. Turned out just fine.
Yeah.
So you don't know, and that's the
Right.
thing is you can't. There's no definitive. Yes, if you do this, this happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's none of that. Tannery is such a
Right.
variable experience.
Right.
You know,
Interesting.
But he did his best to keep it dry.
and he fleshed it.
And in the shade, and he did the
Right.
fleshing that he could.
Yep.
Yeah.
At I've always, if I get it fleshed, which usually I clean skin well enough, especially an interior black bear. You can clean skin them almost where you don't have to flesh.
Yeah.
And usually I've already got them skinned well enough that I cut some chunks off of it and I throw salt on it. Turn the ears and stuff, right? But, if I can get salt on it, then I'm good.
Yeah.
That's been my...
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, like you said too, there's clean skinning, and I'm always a big fan of that. I'm always pushing that. Take an extra few minutes to clean skin.
Yeah.
And you probably don't have any fleshing to do at all.
Yeah.
Especially with beaver or some like the wolverine.
Sure.
Some of the harder, thicker fur bears.
Yeah.
Well, growing up hunting with my dad, and my dad's a taxidermist, and so, and he had at one point tried tanning and all of that stuff, and decided it wasn't worth the effort.
Yeah.
But he didn't have the greatest setup for it either. But,
It's usually one or the other.
He could do like small stuff easily,
Yeah.
but he just didn't have the big tubs to do big hides and stuff. And he was talking, I don't know, a year or two about trying to do it again, I think. But anyhow, so clean skinning first, and then fleshing, and like turning, like everything, like all of that I learned to do fairly well from a very young. I mean, I was skinning fox as young as I can remember.
Yeah.
Fox and marten and whatever, and so it was always like a, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of the word. Whenever I was skinning an animal, whether I'm cutting the hide off of a moose, and I'm less this way now. When I was a teenager and a kid growing up hunting with my dad, if it was a moose, a caribou, a bear, it didn't matter. I was obsessive over keeping that skin as clean as possible. And now...
You mean like not getting junk on...
correct.
Right.
When I'm skinning, like it is just skin, right?
Yeah.
If there's meat, I might even come back and slice that off while I'm at it. And like I said, with moose and stuff, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't do that effort. But because I was so obsessive as a teenager, it's almost second nature now. And when I care. And,
and along those lines too, when I teach people how to skin or whatever, and I always tell them, treat this like it's going to get mounted.
Yeah.
Because if you skin and flesh and turn, like that thing's going to be some taxidermy work.
Yeah.
Then you're always doing that level. So whenever it comes time to do something like that, you've already got that.
That how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to put that on a T-shirt.
We should put it on the wall.
T-shirt idea.
I was thinking about a T-shirt idea the other day. Instead of "got milk," got salt on the back.
Well, you know what? Our T-shirt idea is our outro tagline, which I got a few more random responses about on a social media text the other day. Yeah, but it's the line that we kind of end the show with is "tread lightly, but don't tread well." Do you understand the reference, or
I don't think so.
Okay, so Timothy Treadwell, Grizzly Man.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So Theodore Roosevelt, walk softly, but carry
a big stick.
Carry a big stick. Okay, so the Greenies say, tread lightly, like leave no trace type thing. So we mashed Grizzly Bear kills Greenie with, the Greenies saying tread lightly, but don't tread well.
Put some thought into that.
Well, actually, it's not mine. My boss came up with it.
Okay.
Years ago. He started saying that, and I just thought, what a great way to end a podcast. And only the people that are here long enough to hear the explanation every dozen episodes or so are going to understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you have your longer time, Alaska.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you're, if you're in the community at all, or if you know who Treadwell was, and you kind of know our twisted sense of humor about the whole situation.
It's funny you mentioned that, because we have an apprentice in the shop now, and he was talking about Treadwell the other day.
Yeah. That there is a movie about that guy.
Is there?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh. So it was done posthumously. And
well, clearly.
Well, not necessarily. So he was well known while he was still alive. And I don't know how.
Yeah, but it's not worth making a movie about somebody like that.
No, but I think Disney was involved, like producing the movie. Like it was some mainstream thing.
It seems like the kind of thing Disney would be involved with.
Werner Herzog, the director, made it. Yeah.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe that was one of his projects, but it was kind of a documentary style movie about his life after he died, and so it was mostly his own footage, of being out with the bears and, interacting.
Well, that's not a recent thing, right? I mean,
No,
I feel like I've seen that.
No, this was
a while ago.
Probably early 2000s.
Yeah. I've seen some of that.
2005.
Yeah, that's about right. But, you can watch it anywhere online. You can rent it or buy it, whatever. I've never watched it. My wife and I, every once in a while, I'll bring it up like, we should watch this. I'm just curious. I know some people that knew him.
Yeah.
And they all say he was just bats.
You had to put it on the calendar, man.
Yeah, schedule a movie night.
Heck yeah.
Anyway, but so tread lightly, but don't tread well. Anyway, T-shirt idea. That's how we got there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I could watch that movie. I guarantee it's going to be.
I would find.
Can be.
Oh yeah,
comical.
100%. But I would wish the entire time, like, look at the size of that bear. Like, oh man, wish I had a gun.
Just watch it on mute, so you don't have to listen to the.
Oh boy! Just play your radio in the background with something else.
Listen to a podcast. Yeah,
but just watch the scenes from Grizzly Man. Yeah, I mean it is a sad story, but it is kind of a comic relief type of thing. Tread lightly, but don't tread
especially for hunters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you don't carry a gun in the bear woods, then you kind of.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say is in black bear poop, right?
Hikers?
Blueberries.
Oh.
You know what's in grizzly bear poop? Bear spray cans and bells.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's get back to Rob.
I'm good with whatever.
That was our rabbit trail for the evening. So
glad
then
to be here.
We kind of went over the salting process and the field care. So maybe just lightly touch on why keeping a hide dry is important. I mean, you talked earlier about the benefits of salting, the necessities of salting, and you mentioned the proteins that are in the skin itself. But talk about why keeping the hide dry is important throughout that process.
The bacteria.
Okay.
Bacteria growth.
So what about folks that ask, well, the water is cold in Alaska? Because I've heard that argument.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it matters the temp, but...
Let me play devil's advocate then.
Okay.
A few years ago, my wife and I went on a deer hunt in early August. Hot as could be. I mean, blue sky, sunshine the whole time. I think we were on the hunt for 4 or 5 days and hardly even saw a cloud the whole time in southeast. And we shot a bunch of deer. And that early in the season, it's buck only. And we had a few friends with us. And I like to Euro mount any sizable bucks that we shoot. And these, my wife and I each shot 1 buck on that trip. Just because our other friends were non-residents. And each of the father-daughter each shot 2. And then the cameraman that was along shot 1, I believe. So I think we ended up with... 2, 4, 5. Yeah, I think we ended up with 7 deer. And that was just enough in weight that we could still make it out of that spot in 2 flights. We had to take 2 flights in, but we were thinking about, all right, food consumption, weight loss, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We can still make it out of here in 2 flights and not have to make the pilot fly a 3rd run just for meat. Mm-hmm. So we stopped at 7, but we had 7 bucks by the end of the trip. And, it's hot. I mean, like, T-shirt weather, you're getting sunburned hot, right? Mm-hmm. And 99% of the time, I'm right there with you as far as no plastic bags over meat, unless it's for a short period of time, and then you're going to take it out and spread it out and let it get some air and cool off and dry again. I have done that occasionally and gotten away with it, but it's like you
with
said.
the meat.
Yes.
That's different than the skin.
And with hides, occasionally. So
when you have to put it in a bag with other gear and
it's
stuff.
always been with coastal brown bears because, you're slicking that hide into your Barney's pack or whatever pack you're using on that guided hunt, and I'm packing it, I don't think I've ever carried a brown bear hide over 2 miles, which, pretty fortunate, I guess, lucky. But on average, in the springtime, especially where I guide in the spring, I don't think I've ever carried one over a half a mile, really. So it's put it in like a 55-gallon drum liner, like a 6-mil poly bag, and slide it in there, fold it up in your pack, go, and it's a short walk. And then you take it out, dump it out, get it in the raft, go to spike camp, out of the bag. So it's always within an hour in the bag, and it's never in there long term. And then it's back to base camp ASAP. And if I'm in spike camp for even 3 extra hours, I'm in my Helly Hansen bibs, sitting there in a camp chair, fleshing away over my knee.
Yeah.
And, I've fleshed many bears like that. My father-in-law brought you his brown bear, didn't he? Jeff, from last October.
H, is that the last
Yes.
initial?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jeff.
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It's in a feed sack right now. Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's.
Actually, I just looked at it today.
Did it turn out?
No, we haven't even started it yet.
Oh, okay.
So we just finished up September bears.
Okay, right on. Well, I hope it turns out because we fleshed that one and the other one on that trip. It didn't have a beam. We're out in the field, and we just fleshed them all just kind of sitting around on milk crates that we found on the beach, sitting there in your waders and just flesh it. And I think it turned out as good as any other bear hide that I ever fleshed. But we were low on salt because we could only fly in with so much. And there's only so much salt in a village that you're trying to get salt out of at the end of fishing season on the coast.
Yeah.
So nobody has salt laying around.
Right.
So he brought borax, was it?
Mm.
Yeah. I never used it before.
Is that what's on that brown bear?
Some.
Okay.
It was a little bit of that and then some salt. And then as soon as we got it back, his was shot late in the hunt. It was within a couple of days. So it had some borax and then what salt we had.
Yeah.
And then we got it home and then, flooded it with salt. I'm hoping it turns out okay, but I've never done anything else with borax before. But let's come back to that. So
definitely come back to borax.
Yeah. I'm glad I brought that up. I'm curious your opinion. But on that deer hunt, we kept the skulls from those deer in the lake that we had landed on, just to keep the brains from rotting, keep the bugs off of them, so you don't have flies and maggots all over the things. That worked fine. And then we kept the meat in a contractor sack during the day, tied up in a knot with rocks in it in the water, like out in waist deep water. Worked great for a short trip. I wouldn't want to do that for 2 weeks.
Right.
But there's nowhere else around. There's no shade. There's no trees up there. You're way above brush line.
Well, and that water is usually, 35
water
degrees?
Was freezing.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no woods, nothing like that.
Zero.
No. Okay.
We were way above brush line, landed up there high.
And that water's under 40 degrees.
Well, honestly, in that case, you pick your best method you got.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing's ever going to go 100%.
Yeah.
And you just do the best you can.
Yeah.
If it were me in that situation, I might think about the cool water.
Yeah.
Because what I was going to say, what I was thinking about when you were talking about that was get it nice and fleshed.
Right.
Hang it underneath a tree, shade, but you didn't have that.
Yeah. Zero.
So the thing with putting it in cold water like that, what I would be thinking is what's going to happen to that afterwards. Because now you got a soaking wet hide.
Right.
Now you're going to ball it up in a game bag or a plastic bag.
Right.
Even for a plane ride back.
Mm-hmm.
It could still be warm enough in that bag to start growing that bacteria, even though it was nice and cold in the lake.
Yeah.
Now you've got a soaking wet hide that's starting to grow.
What's the grow time on that, though?
That's total speculation.
You're a trapper. So sometimes, especially a warmer time of year, you shoot something, you trap something, a snare something even, if you don't find that before it's frozen, you'll have bacteria growth on the inside of the hide.
Yeah, that's where you get the green belly starting.
In between from it just dying and freezing.
Yeah, because as soon as, especially predators, I mean, that
like
gut,
a coyote,
that gut bacteria that they've got, just gnarly. You guys know this.
Yeah.
So that's why you see a lot of green bellies sometimes if you don't get to it right away.
Right.
Yeah. Interesting. So then revisiting the borax conversation. Black and white opinion.
Borax has its purpose for auction items, I would say. If you're going to use borax, use it for auction items.
Auction items. Okay.
Because anytime you send anything to the auction, it's got to be dry.
Okay.
Air dried. You can't use salt. You can't send salt dried stuff into auctions for a number of reasons. Borax is one of those things. I don't know the chemical compounds of it, how it reacts and acts on the skin, but it's very similar to air drying, where you're basically case hardening that. So as soon as that skin dries, whatever's in that skin
is there.
And I'm talking about bacteria. If there is any bacteria growth, it's already there. So you're basically sealing that in instead of pulling it out with the salt. So when you pull it out with the salt, then it dries hard. The borax I've seen more used in paws, like in the
Yep.
toes,
Yep.
or maybe in the ears.
Sure.
But I mean, it dries stuff out really well.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
I wouldn't recommend borax in anything.
Yeah.
Either air dry it or salt dry it.
Interesting. Yeah, so on that hunt, like I said, very limited supply of anything coming in through a village like that on our way to our spot. If memory serves correctly, I think we had maybe close to 50 pounds, maybe a little over 50 pounds between two bears. And the bigger one got sent out to a taxidermist out of state. And, it seems to have turned out fine. The tanning is done and over with. Seems like nothing's wrong with it. I saw a picture of it the other day. Seems fine. But I think the second one that was his dad's bear, we didn't have as much salt left because that first one is close to a 10-foot bear.
Jeez.
Like we're right under a 10-foot bear. For all intents and purposes, it's an 11-foot bear.
Sure.
But that one we gave a good amount of salt to because I with that much surface area to cover, if I remember right, we were all looking at it at the same time back in camp going, this needs to have salt over all of it. Even if it's that much,
Yep.
just get salt over all of it. And then we reused some of it on the other one, as we hung it up, and then we air dried both of them. We actually constructed what we called a contraption
Okay.
due to a few factors. I'm not going to get into that on here, but I'll show you a picture. But we built a tripod that was like, I don't know, 12 feet tall maybe. And so, big beach logs or something. So you hook up to the center cut right here and hook that over the top of a log and then let it blow in the wind when it's not raining. And
I like that.
It was chilly, but they were dry. There was zero moisture left on them. So then after we had let them salt, and we never used the borax exclusively in one spot. It was just kind of, let's mix this out here. And then there was salt with it. So it was kind of a mixture. So there was salt mixed in with some of the borax just because we didn't have a lot of salt on hand.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it turns out okay on his bear because we didn't have as much salt. But we did reuse some of the salt from the first round.
Yeah.
Because, what else are you going to do?
Exactly.
Right.
You do what you can do.
You're on the beach in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But then we hung them up after they'd both been salted, and you get a nice big breeze, a strong enough breeze. I mean, we're talking peninsula, which is for Fairbanks, it's wind.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of wind around it, and then they dry out to the point where the salt that's stuck in the hair on the bottom side is actually starting to fall out in the wind, and it's so the hair is kind of whipping in the wind again, and it's not fully dry because you're on the coast in the ocean, but
Yeah.
it's a lot better. So
It's a lot better than rolling it up
Right.
unfleshed in a
Right.
game bag or a plastic bag.
Right.
Yeah. You're just
right.
always hedging.
Well, there's a topic we'll have to revisit when that hide is done for
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to text me and let me know
Yeah. Well, now that I know whose it is.
what you think of it. Yeah, it's that real light-colored boar. It was,
Yeah, he's still rolled up in the bag he came in.
Yeah.
He's going to be getting started here pretty quick.
Yeah.
We actually just did 2 air dried black bears,
Oh, really?
and they turned out pretty nice. There was a big spot on the left shoulder that slipped
Oh,
hair, but I was actually expecting a lot worse.
interesting.
So that's the thing is sometimes you just don't know. You always want to mitigate that risk
Yeah,
every step you can.
yeah,
And the other thing I was thinking about too when you were talking about salting is if you don't have that thing flesh, don't worry about salting it
yeah.
because salt only penetrates so much. Feet
Yeah.
or fat really, it won't penetrate meat.
Do you have a number that you feel like
1/4 inch, I've always said,
1/4 inch of meat?
meat or fat,
Okay, so-
but even that's a stretch.
yeah,
Honestly, now that I think about it, I've really stopped telling people that. I just tell them flesh it clean.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
yeah.
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 So
I think your dad, back when we were teenagers, I think I remember him giving some numbers like it was salt will penetrate up to, but not always, but up to, it can penetrate up to 1/4 inch of meat and 1/8 of an inch of fat or something along those lines. And
yeah, and that's something I've picked up along the way too. I don't recall where, but
yeah, I don't know if
I
there's
suppose
any-
I could look it up.
Yeah, yeah. Chat GPT.
Chat GPT.
Yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
Yeah. Put that into perplexity for us. Interesting. Okay, so then next question along hide preserving is freezers.
All right.
You hear that a lot too. So give us your...
Okay, before I get into freezing alone, I will say that there are really 3 different methods to preserve a skin.
Okay.
And every one of them is individual.
Okay.
So you don't need to mix the 2.
Okay.
You got air dried, salt dried, or frozen. And obviously frozen is a raw state.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever you put something, oh man, cramp up.
Need some water?
Didn't stretch before the show. No, if you need to freeze something, and there's nothing wrong with freezing, and I would always say freezing is a temporary solution.
Okay.
Especially on an untreated skin.
Temporary as in how long do you think?
It depends on the skin, but I wouldn't leave it in there for longer than a month.
Okay.
Or so, especially if it hasn't been flushed or turned or anything like that, because then you're talking about freezer burn issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you've got bones in there, absolutely big no-go.
Yep.
Because that will cause freezer burn as well.
Yeah.
We had a fox one time that came in, his legs were still in, and he had this thing in the freezer for months.
Oh.
Well, what ended up happening was we couldn't even take those bones out because every time you try to take the skin off, it would just rip because it's freezer burn.
Oh.
So I contacted my mentor, and he's like, just tan it. Because their bones are so small that we went ahead and tan it because you want to have the least amount of, hole. You don't want to make the skin worse. So, that thing turned out fine. But anyway, don't freeze with bones in because the freezer dry or freezer burn. And again, no plastic bags.
Yeah.
If you can put it in the freezer, like open with nothing around it, that'd be best. But you can use game bags, burlap sacks, feed sacks.
Don't wrap hair out when you put it in the freezer. You can. My dad has seen them slip because once again, the hair is an insulator, and so you wrap that thing up with the skin in, and you can actually slip the skin before it freezes. Once again,
which is the bacteria growth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a good point too, because if you, let's say, take a 6-foot black bear,
right?
Sure.
You just skinned him off. He's got tons of flesh and fat on him and meat, and you roll that thing up. That middle's not going to freeze for quite a few hours.
Right. Well, and the bacteria growth creates more heat, and then and then it finally freezes, and then you don't know. But so you just turn this hair to hair, and
skin side out. Yep. I mean that's really the only thing. And then you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to mix them. So you don't salt something and then put it in the freezer. It's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we put ice on or salt on our sidewalks to melt the ice, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
So don't salt and then freeze. Either salt or freeze, one or the other. That's pretty much it for the freezer.
So on grok, it says 1/4 inch, like you said.
Okay.
For meat or fat and meat?
Fat primarily, but nothing like 1/4 inch absolute max. And it says about 1 pound per pound of hide.
Nice.
Yeah.
Spot on.
And repeated salting, shake off after 24 hours and reapply.
Oh, wait, I wrote that.
Yeah. Good drainage in a cool, dry area. Anyhow.
We'll just have to read from grok for our bear baiting class.
Apparently, yeah.
Maybe we'll learn something.
I was in there the other day getting some new strings on my crossbow, and I was talking to that guy about that.
Yeah.
About your deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's
you have to keep me posted on it. I'd like to sit in on that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we will. I think we'll have a fair number of guys show up. But, even if it's only 15 guys or 20 guys, I was talking to some people about it, and they said, well, I don't want to be there if it's like a focus group of all really experienced guys. And I'm like, you've never been to one of these, have you? Like, this is a motley mixture of experience levels. And I said, even if it is only a dozen people, great, because you're going to get to talk to everybody.
Right.
If there's 50 or 60 people, which, could happen, then you're going to find your kind of crew and you're going to talk to a handful of people, but you're not going to talk to everybody.
Well, and anybody coming to something like that, even if you had a dozen super experienced guys show up, they're there. If they're there, they're going to help you.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to be like, nobody's going to come to that who's not interested in being a help.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we've ever met anybody at an event like that just shows up, sits in the back, comes in 2 minutes late, and leaves 5 minutes early and doesn't want to talk to anybody.
And if they do, then you don't have to worry about talking to them.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And again, that's April 18th. So
It's coming up. Yeah.
we'll just plug it again.
What is
Yeah.
that, like a week from when this podcast comes out?
Oh, yeah, from release. Yeah.
Like 5 days?
Yeah, close to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I just realized I'm going to be up on North Slope.
Yeah, I think we talked about that when we were talking on the phone a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
Well,
we
good,
did.
good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we're going to try the skiing route this time if we got enough snow.
Oh,
up there.
are you?
All right.
Yeah, we've been doing
I think you'll have enough snow.
quite a few years ago. Quite a few years ago, we were up there, a buddy of mine and I, we watched this guy go out on skis,
Yeah.
come back with a couple caribou in the sled. I'm like, that was cool. Because we typically bow hunt, like
Yeah.
most people do along the road there. So I'm like, I'm going to get some skis. It took me a few years to figure out what I wanted to get, and then we've
Sure.
been doing some trial runs here locally.
Yeah.
So,
Working good for you?
Yeah, I like them.
So do you have skins on them?
Yeah, it's like a half skin.
Okay.
It's a backcountry ski, cross country type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, they're a little wider.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was on snow machine in the White Mountains a few weeks ago, and there's people out there like, I'm like, at this point I must have been 30 miles from a road on skis, and they didn't even have like a backpack with them. It's like, I guess they're just heading for the cabin.
Yeah.
Or maybe they were at the cabin and they went out,
Yeah.
just for fun for the day. But
Yeah.
it's like, but there was only tracks going one way, so
Yeah.
more
so
power to them.
we're gonna give it a go up there.
Yeah. That's you'll have to let
Something
me know
different.
how those work. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
well.
always been curious about that for a few different things, but yeah.
Yeah, I would
looks
I would
interesting.
like to start hunting on them
Yeah, absolutely.
if it works out nice.
How long are they? The ones that you have?
Well, I ended up getting two different types of skis.
Did you buy them locally or?
Yeah, I bought
Beaver Sports?
Beaver Sports was one of them. I bought through Fisher. And the other one, they're a pair of Hoaks. They're a lot smaller. So my Fishers, I think they're about 7 foot or so.
Okay.
And then and they got universal bindings, so I can wear my regular boots. I wanted universal bindings so I could wear my normal boots. So I just wear my Kinetrex with them.
Sure.
Simple strap in, kind of like a snowboard setup is what it is.
Yeah.
And then the Hoaks are significantly shorter. They're probably about 5.5, 6.
Is there
which
a
is more
weight?
stable.
I was going to ask if there's more of a weight limitation on the smaller ski then. Just for,
It's based on your personal size.
okay.
And I'm just learning about the skiing stuff. I've done some downhill in my day, but
Yeah.
never cross country, never
I've-
did any of this alpine stuff.
Yeah, I've never even had a pair of skis on my feet ever.
Me either.
Oh, okay. Well,
I've snowboarded.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with the universal bindings because they give a little bit.
Mm.
But that's what you give up for not having that fixed ski boot.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
and
Can you
it-
wear like bunny boots with those?
You typically want something harder soled
Okay.
and a harder ankle. Like my Kinetrex work awesome with them.
Okay.
And my buddy, he runs Kinetrex as well.
So I wear, typically in the wintertime, I wear a pair of Kinetrex slide rocks. They're like they're still Kinetrex, but they're not quite as expensive, and they're more of a hiking boot with a high ankle.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I usually wear in the wintertime is I'll take like those and I'll put them inside of like a Neo overshoe. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
So it comes up to, my foot with that is like the size of a bunny boot. But I get out of my truck, I don't have to take my boots off and put bunny boots on when I'm going snow machine. I just slip that on over. They've got steel on the bottom of it, and it's just it's an insulated boot that goes over my
Oh, really?
boot.
You ever seen the Wiggy's waders?
I think so.
Okay, so it
haven't
has
seen those.
just a flat bottom sole,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's got like a zipper and a closure over the top of it. That's what a
Yeah,
Neo
okay.
is.
And it's insulated with just some kind of synthetic insulation. And I wore those for 24 hours through all kinds of weather and snow riding, and my feet were perfectly warm.
Like down to 20
Yeah.
below type stuff like
I
that.
was in a sleeping bag at that temperature.
Oh,
but
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it could work.
I'm just curious.
Yeah,
like-
and because you're not going to be doing a lot. It's not like downhill where you got a lot of
right.
action going on.
I would
You're-
imagine that'd be kind of clunky though with those Neos in a binding of any kind.
Well, so would bunny boots be. They're about the same
Yeah.
size, so
Yeah.
that's what I was asking.
You just run the insulated Kinetrex then?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just 400.
That's the only one
yeah,
they have.
the 400s.
They don't have like an 800 or
Mhm.
anything. Okay.
No, the only other, if they do, I haven't heard of it, but I could be off on that. But I know they have the pack boots then, and the pack boot, like what Remy wears deer hunting. those rubber. It's like an old LL Bean boot, but they got the rubber bottom to them, the rubber boot, and then it's a leather upper that's like.
Yeah, I don't know. I see
14
him wearing
inches
those
tall.
things, and I don't quite get why he wants to wear them. But I guess for he's
Nostalgia.
He's a horse guy.
Yeah.
Maybe it has something to do with it.
Yeah. I'll just wear my waders.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I was wearing regular old. I was wearing
Knee highs.
lacrosse knee boots. But
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be wearing those 400s if I'm going up there hunting in like November. But
Yeah.
So
They work
what
pretty well.
temperature do you find those comfortable down to?
10,
10 degrees.
I would say kind of an average.
Yeah. I've got a pair of old Kennetreks that are insulated 400 grams, and they're my winter work boot. They're not the Mountain Extremes. They're the guides with the solid outsole. Very, very different application than the Mountain Extreme, at least in my opinion, at least for my feet. But I turned them into a work boot, and they're plenty warm for any job site that I've been on in the wintertime. But yeah, anyway. Well, yeah, best of luck on your trip there.
Yeah.
So I guess we want to hit anything else specifically to your tanning business. Did you already kind of touch on what you wanted to touch on about your timeline? I think you talked about that pretty early on.
Yeah, we stay regular busy, and honestly, we haven't had to advertise a lot.
Yeah.
And that's been a real neat thing with this business is just the relationships we've built and the quality that we've come to. We don't have to really search for work or anything, and we don't have to take in subpar stuff anymore.
Sure.
Because in the beginning, I was just taking in everything.
Right.
And I've learned that there's certain folks that bring stuff in that's not really great, and then we get the blame, and then they stop using us, and then I see them go to another tannery because people talk, right?
Oh yeah.
So I call them tannery hoppers. They'll go.
That's awesome.
They'll go to one tannery.
Yeah.
They'll end up not liking the product after a few times, and they'll go to another tannery. Then they'll stop using them. They'll go to another tannery, and they never see the common denominator. Them. They can't. And I know what kind of stuff they send in, right? So I know they sent the same stuff to the other tannery.
So when you have a new prospective customer, do you pull the hides out and look at them before accepting them?
Oh, we always look, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll always look at them. And sometimes if stuff comes from outside, if it has to come into the Fairbanks Airport, because we do Fairbanks Airport pickups as well from some of the villages and stuff, I will try to get pictures first. And I'll ask a lot of questions, kind of guiding them to where I'm going to make a decision based on how they answer.
Yeah.
But 9 times out of 10, we'll take the stuff and...
Kind of the oddball that you have to say no.
Yeah, it's and a lot of those types of tannery hoppers, they'll weed themselves out.
I remember, my dad. He never really did tanning for anybody that I know of, but skulls was still does skulls. Right?
Okay.
And I think he did. Did you have a rotten skull one year?
I'm sure I did.
Yeah, I think you gave it to me, and we're like, "Here, give this to your dad," and he was like, "What am I supposed to do?"
Yeah, I think
but
that was when we were
it's
teenagers.
a similar kind of thing. I mean, to the
Well,
point
because
where
it is a tanner, you're really putting yourself in a awkward position if you take stuff in and you at least don't explain to that person what could happen because of the condition it's
you
in.
see these white skulls up here, but you bring somebody a completely rotten skull, like a lot of times it's not going to turn out like that.
No. And
It could be splotted and blotchy if it is still, a lot of times like the nose cone falls out at that point. And
then the skins are the same way. It's just like humans, we all have different skin, right?
Oh, right.
Different reactions to certain things. And, I could tan 3 bears and they all came in the same condition and all 3 could do different things. Not drastically, but stuff that I would notice.
Sure, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, it just depends on if you have good genes.
See what you did there. Yeah.
Da-dum.
I have one of those sound effects over here. I don't know which button it is.
I just start hitting them.
Yeah. No, he was over here a couple days ago, and he kept saying, "Yeah, I gave some beetles to somebody else, and in order to do that, I had to get my population up So now I have a bunch of extras left over from that. Do you want beetles? I don't have a detached shop, and I don't want my garage smelling like beetles. So
Well, it'll start
no.
eating your hides too.
Yeah.
Maybe not your processed ones, but
Yeah.
You gonna start some beetles, Rob?
no, negative. That's
they are a
I just
stinky
started.
business.
I just started doing a lot of more hair off tanning.
Okay.
We've done
Oh,
3 hair off moves just for leather.
Okay.
In the last 2 months.
How do you
so-
like doing that?
Well, where I went with that, what I was going with that was, I held off on that for a long time because it's a whole different process from what I do, and
Okay.
it's actually
Oh.
they can't mix
Oh.
because we use hydrated lime to slip the hair.
Oh, because
Okay.
you
So
want the hair to fall out.
Yeah, you want the hair to come out. So when you're doing it in the shop where
Just leave it out
You
in your
don't want the
backyard
hair
for
to
2
come out.
weeks. It'll all come out.
Yeah. I've realized that that's more of a summer gig, but
Okay.
but we've been doing more of that. But I'll never do beetles.
Yeah.
That's just too much of a.
You really need a separate small building for that.
You
at that
would,
point.
yeah, that's
I
too
mean, that's
much.
what my dad has.
Yeah.
That's too much risk
Yeah.
for sure because they'll eat those hides up,
Yeah.
obviously. And I was just thinking about air dried skins,
Mhm.
specifically air dried. If you don't store them in the right place, you'll get those bug holes in them.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Mm-hmm.
If air dried, I've seen a lot of air dried skins come in that have
Yep.
been sitting for probably years in the
Mhm.
shed out back, and
Yep.
they got these little bitty bug holes in
Yep.
them. And a lot of times we'll see the dead bugs.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, how's your shop treating you?
Really well.
Good. You
Yeah.
using all that space?
Yeah, and we get quite a few compliments
Okay.
about that addition you helped build, or
Awesome.
you built for us.
Yeah. Well, you had
Did you-
had the preliminary structure there.
Yeah, but did you see after my son put up those logs on the outside of it?
No, I haven't. I mean, I dropped some bears off. I think maybe even before we did that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think I
No.
was in there the end of June, and it
You saw it.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
has like the half rounds that it
Yeah.
covers all the inside.
It looks like
oh,
a
yeah.
cabin inside
Okay,
the
yeah.
room.
Cool.
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I haven't.
Yeah,
seen it.
my son did that.
Well, I got to kill some bears so I can get over there.
Get over there, man.
Well, matter of fact, I remember seeing that because I even made a comment to Rob. I said, we should just do a podcast in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
remember saying that too.
That would actually be kind of. Well, I don't really have much to talk about, but tanning.
Well, go on
podcast
your-
idea. Rob's room.
Well, if your caribou hunt goes well,
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
like anything like that, man.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole point of this podcast is really just to tell hunting stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This particular one, we wanted to gear it
Yeah.
more towards tanning and hide prep and field care because that's an upcoming thing, and I think it's a nice thing to put this out there from someone in your business.
Yeah,
But-
because you don't see a lot of tanners.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you do hear about them, they're not on podcasts talking about it and
Right,
giving
yeah.
their side of the story. But yeah, going forward, we'll just talk about a hunting story. That's what we're here for. But yeah, we'll do the next one in your shop.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. What you need to do, and what I've thought about doing, I guess I'm going to give it away now, but what I want to do is build a bear chair.
Oh,
I
okay.
have these hides,
Well, that's what you should have done with that half a bear.
I thought about that after I threw it out at the dump. 'Cause
You've
I-
always got options. Doesn't matter how that skin turned out. There's always
Dude,
options
it
to do
was
something
so
with
bad.
it.
I mean, I was trying to find, actually, when I found those hides, I went back in my emails and tried to find the email with the
Oh, really?
refund because I wanted to see exactly what it was. But I think they said that
Could have made a pillow
the
out of it.
two
man.
of them like got caught in something or tumbler maybe. I don't remember what it was, but they said this is what happened. It happened to others in that batch too. Nothing on your end. Like the rest of the hide looked beautiful, full hair everywhere. But,
Yeah.
kind of lopped off at the hips.
But they owned it.
Yeah, they did.
And that's
They did.
something that, and actually I just had this happen to us recently. We made a mistake in the shop. It was a lack of communication, totally avoidable.
Yeah.
Just between my son and I, we didn't communicate well enough. So this nice brown bear, sit in a degrease bath
Uh-huh.
for longer than it should have
Oh.
because we didn't communicate on taking out all that good stuff. It's primarily on me, but it's always on me because I'm the shop owner.
Sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. So he had some bald patches on him, and it was as passionate I am as about this work. It really hurt, and not just because I wasn't going to charge the guy at all,
Right.
but it hurt because that hunter trusted me with that skin,
Yeah.
even though I know all the variables, I know all the risks.
Yeah.
So what I did was I took some pictures of it. I explained to the guy, hey, we messed this up. I'm not charging you a penny. I'll ship it to you for free. And if you decide to use this again, we'll put a rush on your next order. And he came back with, "I really appreciate your honesty. Next time I get a skin, I'll come back in."
Good.
So just that fact of being honest.
Mm-hmm.
When it's our fault, it's our fault.
Yeah.
I've got no problem.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Integrity's way more important than money.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, that's great. So then just a fun question then. Of all the things that you've had through your shop in your years of doing this now, what would you have to say is your favorite individual hide that you've tanned? Like maybe there's one animal with a story attached to it, or one customer, or a certain species that you've only done single-digit numbers of over the years. Do you have any stories like that?
Well, a couple things come to my mind. We got our first mountain lion in about 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Well, I tanned it 4 or 5 weeks ago. It came to us by way of Idaho. Mm. So that was pretty cool.
But not Delta Junction.
No, not yet. Not yet.
But maybe.
Any Alaska mule deer?
Not yet. No. No, but so mountain lion has always been my favorite animal.
Oh, interesting.
And I've tanned some in Montana.
Okay.
In Helena there when we do work down there. But having it in my own shop was really cool, really special. As far as stuff I like doing, I would say more. I honestly, probably bison.
Really?
I really like working on bison.
Have you had a good number of those come through?
A good number. Yeah, good number of those. We've put it through a couple moose hides that turned out really phenomenal.
So then I have to ask, the bison and really the moose too, how much of the hide are we talking here? Like life size or back skin?
Back skins.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we do a fair amount of capes as well.
For bison?
For taxidermists.
Or moose?
Moose and bison. Mm-hmm. Primarily more caribou than anything, but a lot more back skins.
I'm sure Outdoor Boys popularized the caribou back skins.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, sleeping on those.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, man, if I kill a caribou.
They're good little beds. Yeah. I've got a guy that sends me 3 in every year. He just keeps adding beds. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I really enjoy working on bison.
Interesting.
I mean, it's a lot of work. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Because you guys have seen the shavers in my shop, where we thin the skins or get the membrane off, depending on the skin.
Yeah.
But they shave real nice. It could take up to 3 to 4 hours to shave, because sometimes we do 2 different shaves. I'll shave it once, a couple hours. I'll pickle it for 24, 48 hours, and that pickle plumps up the skin again.
Oh, okay.
And then I can get another shave on it. But they turn out really nice.
Huh. How robust was the mountain lion skin, like compared to a black bear?
Compared to a black bear, it was probably pretty similar.
Really?
And actually, what it reminded me of was bison. It's a dense.
Really?
It's dense.
Huh.
The density of it.
Interesting.
Well, and it also kind of reminded me of some of the African skins.
Oh, okay.
It's real thick, real thick skin.
Yeah.
But it's shaved up real nice, and
yeah.
I kind of wanted to keep it around the shop. Sometimes I'll do that. Yeah. I'll keep a skin around for another week just so I can see it in the shop before I call the client. Tell them to get it.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool.
I don't think there's any harm in that.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
I mean, there's sometimes I'll be in the shop at 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'm just sitting there playing with furs.
Yeah.
My wife's like, "Are you coming in?"
Yeah.
I'm like, in a minute. I'm hard at work here.
You know what? That's something else that I'm going to plug for you. So I mentioned that we moved into this studio space and into this place a couple weeks ago. And, as Mo and I were putting up some of these trim boards in here with hanger hooks on them, and we were going through, and I was kind of looking at each bear, and, obviously I threw a few of them away that didn't last over the years, or bad tans, or bad finish job on my end, and then they got tanned and they were garbage after that. You learn as you're getting started. But what stood out to me was that every single hide that I've had done at your place, I could immediately tell, holding side by side, by one easily distinguishable characteristic. And it wasn't the inside of the skin. It was the texture of the hair, the finish on the hair, and the little bit of gloss that somehow was still there after the moving process. And I was remarking about that, saying, you know what? There is an obvious difference because, and you showed me that when I was in there I think for the first time, and you kind of explain the process and like, oh yeah, I spray each one down. So maybe talk a little about that and that finished product, that visual appeal and the tangible difference in the quality of that hide is definitely there with your product, and that's not something that I've gotten ever from anything else. Not to throw anybody under the bus, like you said, you're a different niche than a large factory tannery, but maybe explain what that is for you.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for that. I appreciate that. It's always rewarding whenever you hear folks talking about that stuff in a positive way. So the grooming, it's all about grooming at the end, right?
Yeah.
And I tell everybody that works with me or for me that that's the time when you can really make that sucker shine. Pun intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we use a hair gloss. Hair sheen is the same thing a lot of the bigger tanneries use. But the brushing is probably the biggest thing. So we'll brush, not to get too detailed, I guess, but I've got two different brushes. We use a curry comb, and we use a metal pin brush.
Okay.
And we'll go from butt to head.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll blow it out with the flying pig that we have. It's a real high-powered blower.
Okay.
Blower with heat. It has heat on it as well.
Okay.
Heat settings. So we blow that, and then you brush it nose to butt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go side.
Okay.
Blow it, side. So the more brushing you do, you're getting all that underfur, not all the underfur out because you don't want to get it out, but you're really cleaning that up so it's nice and flowing hair. And then when you add the sheen on it and then you hit that with heat and air, it just pops. Yeah. And depending on the environment it lives in after it leaves our shop, it'll stay like that for quite some time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they definitely fared very well. I think some of them could use a replumping after the moving process.
Yeah,
but,
and that's nothing more than taking it outside and putting a leaf blower on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then running a comb through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, the grooming process is, and we get detailed. We're in there with Q-tips in the ears, making sure there's nothing going on in the ears. I think I mentioned earlier, we trim all the lips now so they're nice and uniform.
Right.
Just small details that really matter.
Well, I mean, you mentioned that, and then I'm looking around the room at all the ones that weren't done at your shop, and I'm looking at the lips going, yeah, that one's not from him. That one's not from him. A couple of those are kind of Raggedy Ann, but yeah. Well, that's very cool. Well, anything else you want to add here?
I don't think so.
Rob?
I feel like we're forgetting a bunch, but we're probably not. I think, honestly, the biggest thing I would love to get out of this is just the hide prep.
Yeah.
And the fact that if you've got questions, contact me. Yeah. And actually, after that podcast we did a few years back, I got several phone calls and emails, and I really appreciated that because I was able to talk with some other folks, lower 48 specific. Yeah.
I mean, I think really we had this little basic things we wanted to get over and cover. I mean, there are a few things that we might not have gotten into great detail over. But the only thing that we really didn't talk about, it would be like the future of small tanneries. Mentioned that. So
I think there's more of a future for small tanneries than there is big ones popping up.
Yeah.
And like I said before, there could be 2 or 3 more tanneries here in Interior, and everybody would be fine.
Really?
I believe so.
You think we could support that much?
I believe so, yep. Because I turned down quite a bit.
Like in Fairbanks, North Pole, Salcha, Delta Junction type area.
Yep.
Central road system. Interesting.
And I also know, too, that if I wanted to hire 10 people, get a 2,000 square foot building, I'm sure I could kill it. We could kill it. We just make all kinds of money. But that's not what I want to do. Like I said before, it's more about relationships and having that clientele and having the small business that I own, not the big business owning me.
Right.
Yep.
Because then I'm back to managing people again. I'd rather not do that.
Yeah.
And it works out nice how it is.
Yeah.
For us. And we're getting to the point now where my son can do everything I can do in the shop. I'm making him 10% ownership or 10% business owner this year. Every year he's continues to be interested, we add 5%. So eventually he will take over the business.
Yeah.
Which was another plan from the get-go.
Yeah.
I want this to be a family business.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great.
Kids take over if they want to. Daughter doesn't have anything to do with it. But
tries to pretend like it doesn't even exist. Like, no, I don't want to smell that. Don't want to see it.
Yeah. She moved to Anchorage to get away from it. No, she's going to UAA down there.
Oh, that's cool. Well, she's probably going to rent an apartment right across from Grizzly Expediters.
That'd be perfect.
I don't even know where their location is, but anyway. Well, yeah, man, I really appreciate you coming on. I don't even know what time we're at here. I don't know. Probably
hour and a half.
Yeah. I think that's a palatable amount of information. At least I feel like.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
someone who's looking for information about it, whether you're a beginner or you're just like Mo and I, we're just kind of picking you apart, looking for holes in our own game. I think that's it's never going to hurt to hear from an expert on the subject. You know, you're never going to come away dumber from that conversation.
No, no, and if I don't know something, I'll let you know. I don't know, but I'll look it up and find it out.
So I mean, I know I've commented several times about the salting, and I definitely will try. We'll work harder at it. I the one place I have to salt in my shed.
Yeah.
Right. So it's not ideal.
Bring it over here.
I guess you're right here now. Yeah.
It's literally a team
If I bring
effort.
it over here, then I'll just forget about
Put
it.
it in
He'll
my
take care
garage.
of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
and I'm going to charge you. I'm going to get a copy of his rates, and I'm going to say, okay.
Well, it's a team effort. You do
Yeah.
your part, I'll do my part,
Yeah.
and you'll have a skin that's hanging on the wall looking beautiful forever.
Yeah. So I mentioned getting salt on it, and like I'm all like if that salt looks soaked through, I will swap that out. I don't leave soaked through salt on it.
Yeah.
But
I won't be checking on you.
Well, we'll find out
Yeah.
when if a hide comes back messed up and it's my
It's
fault.
2 o'clock in the morning. Has Mo changed his salt?
Right.
We're going to knock on his door and find out.
The one thing we didn't really talk a lot about was your whole process. Like once you've got it, and you talked about the pickle and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I can run.
We can run through that now.
Yeah.
Real quick, just because I think it's interesting.
Yeah, and all the steps that I'm going to go through are very basic in general for any tannery.
Okay.
So we receive the skin in, whatever condition it's in.
Okay.
Hopefully salt dried, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we tag it immediately with our tags, and then we do a work order on it, and then whenever we're ready to start it, it'll go in the rehydration first. That's just plain cold water for a salt dried hide.
Okay.
So that'll sit in there, rehydrate, and then it gets degreased in our wash machine. We got a big washer that we degrease in.
Yep.
And then it goes to the pickle, and the pickles, it'll stay in there for a few days, and then we shave it. It'll go back in the pickle, and if it requires a second shave, like on a big skin, we'll shave it again, put it back in the pickle.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I said, we got to maintain those pHs at the optimal level.
Yeah.
And then from the pickle, it gets degreased again, and then it goes into the tan. And then the tan solution depends on the size of the skin and things like that. Like a bear will do for 3 or 4 days.
Mm.
But we do typically 4, 5, 6 bears at a time.
Okay.
Because bulk is the money maker,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So once it sits in the tan, we neutralize that, pull it out, do a quick rinse on it, and then spin it out, let it hang dry overnight, and then we oil it with a tanning oil, and then let that sit in a bag. The only time you use a plastic bag.
Okay.
We leave that in there so the oil can penetrate the skin.
Okay.
Take it out, let it dry, and then we start the tumbling process. We use different types of tumbling media.
Mm-hmm.
With stuff like this, with under fur, we use wood flour. It's a birch wood flour that we get locally.
Oh.
And then for the longer or the hollow-haired animals like
Yep.
moose and whatnot, we use aspen chips,
Okay.
kiln-dried aspen chips.
Okay.
So then it's a series of tumbling on a few different sides, because you got a closed side with the media in it, and then you have an open side that gets all the media off.
Mm-hmm.
And then a lot of times we'll stake it. So there's a staking machine. I'm pretty sure you've seen it in there.
Yeah.
It's a pretty gnarly machine. It just beats the skin up.
Right.
It just gives that extra softness, that extra suppleness.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's grooming.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's out the door.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of steps, but we're always doing multiple steps at once.
Sure.
So we're not just running a batch from A to Z
Yeah.
and then starting over.
Yeah.
We might have here, and there.
Yeah.
So,
That's a lot to keep track of. I don't doubt it.
well, it's just like anything you do it,
Yeah.
Right.
more and more, it's going to get easier and easier. But
Yeah.
you also have to keep in mind not to get complacent.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like with that bear and the degrease.
Right.
Yeah.
We got complacent,
Right.
Yeah.
and we paid for that.
Mm.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much the process.
Okay. Yeah.
Interesting.
And if anybody's interested in learning how to tan, we do one-on-one courses now, and for skinning as well, fleshing, one-on-one classes. I've done some small group classes and stuff like that. I'm starting to do more and more of, but just reach out and I'll show you what I know. It's not everything, but it's more than somebody that hasn't started yet.
I think that's great, man. I think that is fantastic. I've got there are a lot of I wish that I had been able to go to something like that when I was 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
When I was first starting, that's the first black bear I shot. And that one, Mo had killed a bear the night before. I shot that one the following night. And then 3 hours later, my father-in-law shot another one about that same color off the same bait. So my first bear kill experience was 3 bears in 24 hours. And it was kind of a crash course, but obviously, I was a young kid. I didn't retain everything that I learned. Right. And then, a year goes by, and then I'm baiting by myself, and I was shooting bears, and then I'm taking care of the hides on my own because now, I'm not with my father-in-law, and so I'm doing things alone. And I started to just kind of, I forgot things, and I did things differently, and, made a bunch of mistakes. But, the only reason that one turned out is because I didn't do it all.
Yeah.
But, had I had someone to attend a class like that and really just observe that and be able to, even just to have a video of it, like you're talking about your project that you're doing down south.
The Homestead Expo.
Yeah.
And it's all getting filmed. Yeah.
Yeah. Having that on video to go back and revisit.
Yeah.
I can't believe there's not more of that exists out there.
I am really surprised at that as well. And learning this from knowing nothing about tanning, just learning the process, it's very secretive. And if you look at the history of tanning, I can see why it's like secretive, but
it's like a recipe.
It's almost like a recipe, but then again, there's so many recipes
and at
to
this
tan.
point, though, like I can see at one point in history why.
Right.
But today, like you said, we could support
there's too many people
4 more tanners in this town easily.
There's too many people out there that are just mum's the word.
Yeah.
They don't want to help anybody out. A fear of whatever, and usually it's competition. So
should we film our bear baiting thing for guys?
We've already been asked about that.
I know. I got another question the other day, so that's why I thought I'd bring it up.
Yeah. Well, if that one that you got is separate from the one that I got, then it's probably like the 10th or 12th person.
Really?
That's asked.
He's out of
now.
state.
Yeah. We've got.
We're out of town.
So
wouldn't
we
be a bad
probably
idea.
will. Yeah. We probably will.
I'm sure I can get this camera set up for that.
Well, and that's what I asked you when I called you a couple weeks ago, and asked you to come on here. Was hey, are you going to be around for this? Because we'd love to have a segment of this because we're going to talk about hide care and things like that, and we're going to tell folks, hey, if you want to hear an entire episode from the tannery that we use, go listen to this episode of the podcast because we're only going to talk about this for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
but,
I like it.
Go listen to this episode, and that's a more detailed perspective on it. But yeah, I mean, at some point down the road, if we end up doing a couple more things like this, related to bears and things like that. Some of these courses type of things, hour and a half to 2 hour type of deal. We'd love to have you come in and give a little presentation. I'm sure you've got a lot of show and tells that you can use too. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be great. But yeah, we'll probably end up videoing it. I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't. We have the setup for it.
Right.
It's kind of a
Well, we can use the wireless mics. And,
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, well, man, I think we should put a bow on it right there. I think we covered the tannery part of it, covered the important aspects of it. I'm sure there's always a rabbit trail here and there.
Yeah, but I think we
like
got
anything, but we want to be concise
meat
about
of
it. Yeah, if we're gonna talk about the tanning process, I'd like to keep it mostly about the tanning process, and we'll save the stories and things, and shooting coyotes with your bow for another day. So I haven't forgotten about that. You're still the only guy I know up here that has done that. So anyway,
I shot at a fox with my bow once. I missed, but I did shoot at a fox with my bow.
Anyway, I want to tell you a story, but
okay. Not time for it.
Yep, not time for that.
Well, it helped that fur was really hungry when it came in. I mean, he was only from here to the table when I shot him.
Oh, that's awesome. Were you caribou hunting?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I shot that coyote when I was caribou hunting. I shot that wolf when I was caribou hunting. I shot that fox when I was caribou hunting.
There's a lot of those.
Uh-huh.
A lot of those
coincidentals.
A lot of those come in, and unfortunately, a lot of lynx and coyotes and fox have been shot with like 22 250s and 300 Win mags.
7mm, 300 Win mag, and 7 Rim mag.
Yeah.
Almost everything can be sewn. That's what I tell. I tell clients.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, I think there's too many holes in it. Nope, we can still tan it. There's gonna be a lot of sewing.
Yep.
I learned how to do that. I grew up doing that too.
Yeah,
Baseball stitching bear hides.
That's an important. If you're gonna handle hides and fur, you should probably know how to sew.
Yeah. I've only ever stitched like backcountry fixes. Like I have a little survival sewing kit that I carry with me.
When if my dad's doing a bear rug or something. You got to go over there and do some sewing just to experience the pain in your fingers, pushing a great big curved needle through. You could, I suppose. I never did.
Where I was like, I don't want to be a.
I think my dad had a leather one that he used.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, I would think you have to after a while.
Yeah,
well, you're pushing. You've got this big like S-curve needle. And you're using a great big thick thread.
Yeah.
You do it a baseball stitch.
I stitched a pack strap back onto a pack one time on a hunt.
Oh.
And it was through a very structurally important part of the pack. And I couldn't believe it had torn off.
Was it your pack or?
I don't have that pack anymore.
Okay.
Anyway, but I had to stitch it back together, and it held for years after that.
Put that on your resume.
I did a better job than the factory did, apparently. Anyway, thank you, Made in USA. Not. Anyway, but yeah, I couldn't get the needle through there, and it's not a small gauge needle either. But I took my Leatherman.
Oh, okay.
And I just pliers on the needle and just jammed it through there and back and forth. And like, well, this ain't a pattern, but man, it held.
Kind of like a hope knot.
Yeah.
Just tie it and hope it works.
Yeah, is it going to come together? I hope not. But, And then I stitched a bino harness back together on a sheep hunt one time.
Your bino harness?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of your stuff's breaking. Where are you buying it?
That was the two things that I've ever stitched back together. But because of that, I still carry a sewing kit everywhere.
I've never busted. I usually carry a sewing kit, but I've never busted a pack strap or a bino harness.
Yeah.
Busted some wheelers, though.
Sewing ain't going to work on that one.
No, but a rubber gloves and some seam grip will patch a radiator.
I like it, yeah.
Yeah.
Field care.
Mm-hmm. Well,
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. We appreciate you taking time out of your evening and coming out here and doing this. We'll definitely be doing it again, but next time we'll do it in your shop next time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. But so if you like the Great Alaska Hunting Podcast, please leave us a positive written review or a 5-star rating. That'd be lovely. That's the only way that we really ask you as the listeners to support the show. We don't have any discount codes or, gimmies anywhere else to try to ask for your money. So just put it in front of more people for us, and that's all we ask for. Mm-hmm. And if you are in the Fairbanks, North Pole, Salcha, Delta Junction, Nenana, or Healy area, that's all kind of within an hour or so of Fairbanks. Any further than that, and, well, it's probably not going to be worth the drive, if I'm being honest with you, for about an hour and a half. But if you are in the Fairbanks area and you'd like to come to a little bear baiting class that we're going to kind of co-host with Screaming Eagle Archery here in Fairbanks, I think it's 205 Romans Way is the address, but you can just Google their business, Screaming Eagle Archery, on Google Maps, and it'll take you right to the shop there. They got a
4:30?
4:30 start time on Saturday, April the 18th, and Mo and I will be speaking there and doing a short presentation about bear baiting. And it doesn't matter what level you are as a bear baiter. If you just want to come and hang out and just meet other folks that are like-minded and get together with some friends, that'd be great as well. And you can be there to help mentor maybe some beginners that are going to be there as well. We've got some door prizes. I had a guy get a hold of me a couple days ago and say, hey, I've got some bait barrels I don't need anymore. Want me to give them away? So you might get some free stuff. I know we have door prizes from Batum 907, which I know Mo and I have talked about a lot on here in the past. All of our favorite scents and lures and attractants. And then there's talk of a tree stand giveaway as well, but more to come on that. So if you are interested, it is free to attend. We'll have some soft drinks and water available. No food. Again, 4:30 start time. We're going to shoot to be wrapped up and out of there, or at least done talking by 6:30. So 6:30 at the most will be our presentation time. And you'll be able to just the chicken, no bones at this presentation. And hopefully we can cram enough in there that it'll be helpful for some people and kind of a fun little event for Screaming Eagle there. So be sure to come by and check it out and say hi. I think that's it for this one.
Can I plug the expo real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, so again, March 22nd through the 25th, Homestead Expo in Big Lake, Alaska. Morris Custom Hides will be down there. We'll be doing a 5-part series throughout Friday and Saturday. Skinning, detailed skinning, paws, head, all that good stuff.
Absolutely.
Fleshing, salting.
And you'll have dead animals in whole right there to do the whole process.
We'll have tanned animals. We'll have all kinds of different skins in different states.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, and if you want to look for Rob's company, I know you're on Facebook at Morris Custom Hides. Is that still your handle on there?
Yep.
So you can see some of the pictures of the tannery and some of the products that come through there. And you do a good job with that too. And if you want to get a hold of him, if you like to do some business with him or just pick his brain about something, his number is on his business name on Google Maps as well.
Absolutely.
So you can get a hold of him.
I don't hide from anybody.
Yeah. No sense in gatekeeping if you're that good.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, Rob. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Yeah. And folks, until next time, tread lightly, but don't tread well.